In the shotgun, Matthew Stafford. He fires to the goal line, sitting down with the catch, and the touchdown is Cooper Kupp. With that grab and that touchdown, sets a franchise record for most receptions in a single season. Gets through it, drives the ball down the right seam. Cooper Kupp has the catch, middle of the field, under 10, 5, touchdown! Cooper Kupp with his second touchdown of the second half, and the Rams are back on the high side.
Good day. Welcome into First Take on a Wednesday. Thank you for being with us. Harry Douglas, Marcus Spears. I'm Molly Karam. Kimberly Martin will be here shortly. And Marcus, I really can't with you right now because I watched you all on NFL Live yesterday, and it was like a fashion show with Laura and you and Ryan and Mina and Dan and the whole crew. You had on your Christmas drip. So then I changed my outfit. I was going to wear a blue dress because I thought everyone was going to be in Christmas color. And now look at you. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear that I wear my C-list outfits on your Wednesday shows. Enough from you on that. Yes. You brought it out for NFL Live, and I see what it is. It's so cool. It's cool. I see what it is. We'll keep it rolling because I saw what it was last night as well. We had a rare Tuesday night NFC showdown despite placing up to 29 players on the reserve COVID-19 list over the past 10 days and playing last night without 3 starters. The Rams Seahawks 20-10, defeating them. Matthew Stafford went 21-29 for 244 yards, 2 TDs, and 1 pick. The Rams win last night ties them with the Cards for the best record in the NFC West at 10-4, first place in the NFC West with 3 games left. They are a win away from clinching a playoff spot and have a 35% chance to win the division according to our analytics. Swagoo, I'll start with you. Is Stafford the quarterback under the most pressure to win the Super Bowl?
No, he's not. It's Aaron Rodgers. And it's Aaron Rodgers because of, one, let's go back to a tumultuous offseason, figuring out if he was going to even be a Green Bay Packer. And then for the Packers to kind of take the approach that we are going to appease Aaron Rodgers, not only in getting Randall Cobb to come to this team, but also restructuring a contract so it's an easier exit or easier trade after this particular season. And then, too, like, let's call the elephant in the room. Like, for as great as Aaron Rodgers is and as great of a quarterback as he's been, he has 1 Super Bowl. And I understand going to the NFC championships, but you falling short as Aaron Rodgers, you have to be held to the same standard we hold all of the superstars to. You have to be able to get there. You have to be able to get back. And the fact that he's been 1 game away 3 times and haven't reached that Super Bowl that he's looking for, and understanding he's already a Super Bowl champion, not to discount that, but there's no way in hell you can tell me that Matthew Stafford in his first year in a new situation, a new offense, is under more pressure than Aaron Rodgers, who's been in Green Bay, who tore Green Bay a new one in a press conference before the season started, who got the general manager to capitulate to the things that he wanted done, who went through this immunization configuration, and who also is considered to be arguably the greatest quarterback ever. And he's sitting on 1 Super Bowl, and his team is good enough to get there again. They're having a successful year this year. The pressure is on Aaron Rodgers to win a Super Bowl in Green Bay more than any other quarterback in the NFL.
I'm sorry, Swagoo, but I got to disagree. For me, the most pressure to win a Super Bowl right now was Matthew Stafford. You got to look at Sean McVay. Recently, they just got to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff. But what did Coach McVay say? That's not the guy. I want a guy that I need that I feel like we can win a Super Bowl with. So what do? They unload the house to go trade for Matthew Stafford. Not only that, Matthew Stafford, to me, they're basically saying Les Snead and Sean McVay is that this is the guy that we need to get over that hump and win the Super Bowl. He said, I won't say he said, but basically with the Rams, it's Super Bowl or bust. Am I right or wrong? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Super Bowl
I agree with that.
So that's why I think Matthew Stafford has the most pressure to win a Super Bowl, more so than Aaron Rodgers. Matthew Stafford hasn't even won a playoff game yet. Aaron Rodgers has a Super Bowl. He won the MVP last year. So basically, the Los Angeles Rams, their organization, they empty the house for right now, to win now. So that's why I think Matthew Stafford has the most pressure on him. That's why I want to see them these last few games. Could he step up and make more of a push for this offense to be what it needs to be? They just got to be better in the run game. But I think if Matthew Stafford can allow this team to get that push and allow these guys to get over the hump, I think the pressure will be off of them. And I think the only way they can do that is with a Super Bowl.
That was an eloquent dissertation right there, Harry, but you know damn well you're wrong. Like you already, you proved the point. The pressure, and I will agree with you on this, the pressure on anybody to win a Super Bowl lies at the feet of Sean McVay more than anybody. That takes pressure away from Matthew Stafford. Sean McVay pulled the trigger. Les Snead pulled the trigger. They decided that Matthew Stafford would be the guy. Yeah, Matthew Stafford accepted the challenge. Wouldn't you accept the challenge if you had the chance to go to the Rams and get the hell out of Detroit? You would accept it too.
1,000,000%.
But that is not the pressure. That's not the pressure on him. The pressure is on the Los Angeles Rams head coach. One, you made the point. They got there with Jared Goff. So you're supposed to be a coach good enough with a more talented quarterback to get you back into that situation. Matthew Stafford is playing well. He's had some bumps in the road, but for the most part, Matthew Stafford has been a significant upgrade over what Jared Goff was for the Los Angeles Rams. Sean McVay has the most pressure of any head coach. We agree on that. But we talking about players. We talking about quarterbacks. And we're talking about Aaron Rodgers with one Super Bowl, who's probably about to be a two-time MVP back-to-back, but one Super Bowl in his case. The pressure is on him.
But
if we're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers in the same vein that we're going to talk about the greatest quarterbacks ever, if we're going to talk about him in the vein of what he did this offseason in order to facilitate being back in Green Bay, the pressure started more on Aaron Rodgers in the offseason than it started right now at this point. We knew he was going to play well. We talking about a Super Bowl or bust for Aaron Rodgers in this situation that he created.
But here's my thing. What has been the narrative around Matthew Stafford? He's been a good quarterback on a bad team. He hasn't had a playoff win. So now he goes to a team that is great. So if you go to a team that's great, if you've been this high hopes quarterback in Detroit and now you go to a great team, I expect you to win a Super Bowl.
Aaron, let me ask you a question.
But he didn't draw attention to himself like Aaron Rodgers did.
I understand that. Molly,
let me ask Harry a question, because Harry drowning right now, and I need to throw him a life jacket.
I know how to swim.
Harry,
Talk to me.
Is under the most pressure to win a Super Bowl out of Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford?
I think Matthew Stafford. I'm not changing that.
All right.
I don't think the pressure on
leaving
A-Rod.
it there.
No.
Let's move on. Let's move on to Harry. Let's move on to Harry's position. So, meanwhile, Stafford's top target, Cooper Kupp, leads the league in receptions, receiving yards, in touchdowns. Harry, I'll ask you this. Is Kupp the best wide receiver in the NFL right now?
No, I don't think he's the best wide receiver, but he's making a case. I think the best wide receivers, I would go with number 1, Devontae Adams, because he's just that guy who can route people up. Number 2, I'll go Justin Jefferson from LSU, right where Swagoo went to college at. But number 3, I think it's Cooper Kupp. Now, Cooper Kupp does have an opportunity to break the single-season wide receiver record that was set by Calvin Johnson. I think he only has like 339 yards to go. But the top 3 receivers right now in the NFL, 1, Devontae Adams, 2, Justin Jefferson, number 3, Cooper Kupp.
Okay. Swagoo, where are you?
What are we determining this off of? Because the caveat to this question is right now. And right now, Cooper Kupp is the best wide receiver. I don't know if I'm not talking about overall career-wise. I'm not talking about the guy you would take. Right now in the NFL, Cooper Kupp is the best wide receiver in the league.
Right now.
And I'm not just talking about statistically. Every time you walk into a game, you know that Cooper Kupp is going to be the focal point of what the Los Angeles Rams are doing, and no one can do anything about it. This dude might end the year with 2,000 yards receiving. 2,000 yards receiving. He may end the year with that. And I get it. Other guys put up great numbers. And no, I'm not drafting Cooper Kupp before I take Devontae Adams or DeAndre Hopkins or Justin Jefferson potentially. But right now in the NFL, Cooper Kupp is the best wide receiver. And he should be in the MVP conversation. Because if we talk about production, if we talk about what you mean to your team and success, Cooper Kupp has as good of a case as anybody in the NFL. And not to mention, he lost his compadre in Rob Woods, where we thought this offense would take a big hit, and he's only stepped up to make up for some of those things that they lost. I know Odell Beckham Jr. is there. I know Van Jefferson is there. I understand that Matthew Stafford has come along. But if you look at Cooper Kupp statistics, that will tell you. But I go beyond that. Look at the damn film. Cooper Kupp right now.
Wait, hold on. Time out. I need to recap for 1 second. Swagoo has him in the MVP conversation, and you have him as just the third best receiver in the NFL.
Here's my thing, though.
I don't understand that.
He is talking like Devontae Adams. Everybody doesn't know the ball's going to Devontae Adams. Like everybody doesn't know the ball's going to Justin Jefferson. Like, I don't understand that.
Let me ask you a question. Does everybody know that Cooper Kupp getting the ball every time the Rams play?
100%.
And he got the most production,
all three of those games. He has the most receptions, too.
Production.
He has the most receptions. Is Cooper Kupp getting double the way Devontae? Is he getting double-teamed the way Devontae Adams is getting double-teamed? Answer my question. My point exactly. So if he's not getting doubled the way Devontae Adams is getting doubled, then how is he the best receiver in the NFL?
So we can't say he's the best because other teams won't double team him.
Come on,
man.
Let's be serious.
That's the other team's fault.
It don't even make sense. It don't even make sense.
That's the other team's fault.
Swagoo, it don't make sense to me, though. It don't make sense to me. You just said you wouldn't even draft Cooper Kupp over Justin Jefferson or Devontae Adams. So how does that even make sense? Right.
What does the question say on the scroll?
Right, who is the
what
best?
Does the question say on the scroll?
In my eyes,
Molly.
Devontae Adams is number one. Number two is Justin Jefferson. Number three is Cooper Kupp.
It says should he be in the MVP conversation, but in fairness to Harry, that's not what I asked him. I asked if he's the best receiver in the league. So you both are answering different questions, so it's all good.
I played receiver.
Right now is what I heard the question to be. Right now is what I heard the question to be.
Yeah, and
right now, Cooper Kupp the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Then you insane.
All right. He's accounted for 40% of the Rams office in terms of receiving yards. Let's get to your team. Okay, Swaggo, let's put a smile on their face. Don't look now, but the Cowboys, 10-4. How about them Cowboys? Tied for second in the toughest conference in football. And Jerry Jones has taken notice. He's feeling festive and maybe even a bit surprised by the Cowboys' success.
If I had told you at the beginning of this season, with 3 weeks left in your season, that you would be 10-4, the number 2 seed currently in the NFC playoffs with an opportunity to possibly get to the number 1 seed, what would you have told me at the beginning of the season?
Well, I would have told you after you told me, Jerry, you're not supposed to start drinking this early in the day. I would have said to you, you can dream, can't you? But still, I don't want to imply that we don't have those kinds of aspirations.
Okay, 5 o'clock somewhere. That's your guy, Marcus. That's your boy. Good old Jerry, always giving us fodder, and we love it. Keep it coming, keep it coming. Marcus, how far do the Cowboys have to go this season for it to be deemed successful with all that talent on both sides of the ball?
I think a minimum of the NFC Championship, Molly. I think they need to have an opportunity to cap this off with at least an opportunity to get to the Super Bowl. And do I consider them the best team? No. I think Green Bay right now is the best team in the NFC. And the only reason I think Green Bay is because the injuries that we saw Tampa Bay suffer. But when you look at Dallas and you think about the things that they've done, and I know offense has been a struggle, but they can get hot. We've seen them reach the heights of what we are seeing these prolific offenses reach. But from a defensive standpoint, like at some point during the season, we got to stop saying this is a fluke. 31 takeaways ain't a fluke. Harry played in the NFL. Every NFL player will tell you when you have 31 takeaways on the season, that is not luck. That ain't by chance. That is the Cowboys creating opportunities for themselves from a defensive standpoint. And I think this defense gives them a real shot for 3 hours on any playoff day to have an opportunity to advance to the next round. So I think at bare minimum, the NFC Championship would deem it a successful season, and it's like a do or die situation at that point where you either you make it to the Super Bowl or you don't. But based on how they started the first 7 weeks, going 6-1, going toe-to-toe with Tampa in week 1, when everybody's eyebrows raised about the new Dallas Cowboys as opposed to what we saw last year, I think anything less than the NFC Championship would be a disappointment.
Yeah, I think the NFC Championship as well. But the only thing about that is that Jerry and that Cowboys football team hasn't been to a Super Bowl in a long time. So I think getting to the Super Bowl, if they happen to lose it, I still think they'll be okay, even though they will want to win it.
Yeah.
But for a successful season, I think the NFC Championship game. But I want to touch on something, Marcus, you said. The thing that bothers me about the Cowboys is that offensively right now, I don't think the focus is there. I need this team to focus a lot more so they can be on one accord. And Marcus, you play defense. I play offense. Offensively, you can't have one guy on a different page than all other 10. Because the play can derail.
100%.
Defensively, you can have that. You can have one or two guys mess up and still overcome that. Offensively, you cannot. So I think for this football team right now, I do think Dak, he needs to grab those guys. If they need to get 20, 25 minutes more extra routes after practice so they're on the same page, they got to do that. If he has to grab them and say, hey, we need to meet extra time on our own without coaches, I think they need to do that because the brand of football that they're playing right now offensively is not the way you want to be playing heading into the playoffs, down the later stretch of the season, because if they continue to play like this offensively, the sad part about it is they're going to be one and done, and then we're going to be talking about why it went wrong when we already know why it went wrong.
Yeah. No doubt, Harry. Look, I know we're supposed to debate and disagree, but I agree 100% with you on that. I think the problem lies within two people. I think one, Kellen Moore has lost creativity. And I don't know if it's because I still don't think Dak is fully healthy because he's playing timid. And that's not an excuse. It's just a reason. He may not be injured. He may not have anything lingering. And he may just be playing bad. But to see him go from the level he was playing at the first 7 weeks of the season, then he gets the injury against Denver and it looks completely different. I can't attribute it to anything other than the fact that he's not feeling 100% or mentally he's trying to get through whether it's a calf strain or whether the shoulder is flared up, one of those situations. No excuse though. Damn it, Aaron Rodgers playing with a broken toe. They better figure it the hell out. Because to your point, from an offensive standpoint, if you are saying that we're going to go into the playoffs and we're going to count on our defense to turn the ball over 2-3 times a game to make up for the things that we're not doing offensively, you will be home after week one. And we will be talking about what an opportunity lost. So it's squarely on Kellen Moore to get back to doing some of the creative things that he was doing early in the season. And bottom line, Dak Prescott has to play better. And he has to play more decisive. It looks timid. It looks like he's thinking every time he drops back in the pocket. And that is in no way going to benefit them when he has to potentially face Aaron Rodgers or Matt Stafford or Kyler Murray or Tom Brady in this playoff run. Because they won't be timid and second-guessing the things that they're doing offensively.
Let me ask you this, Harry. If needed, can this defense carry Dak?
That's the thing. You can't bank on this defense getting turnovers like they're getting right now in the playoffs because when you're playing guys like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, you just can't bank that they're going to give you the ball at the most, I think, crucial time of the football season. So you can't just bank on and say, hey, we're going to get these turnovers because if you're not getting those turnovers and they're completing passes and going up and down the field, but your offense is sputtering and spiraling down like it is right now and not on one accord, then you're going to find a first-round exit. And not only are you going to find a first-round exit, you're going to get blown out in round one.
Yeah, and then to your point, Harry, like if you watch film like Harry does and I do and a lot of our counterparts, even with the turnovers, Dallas ain't doing nothing with it offensively. Like we look at the New York Giants game and we talk about a win, and I didn't feel good after that win. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I was like, that was still very average. That was a very average win. Yeah, defensively you get 4 takeaways. That should be applauded. It's still the NFL. But offensively, when you end up in the red zone as Dallas 3 to 4 times and you come away with 6 total points, that is a failure with the talent that you have on this football team. So it's not that, and let me caveat this, and Harry, I've been doing this because we at that point of the season now. We talking about playoffs. We talking about the teams that you're going to have to play against down the stretch. That effort wouldn't have beat the Green Bay Packers, even with 4 turnovers. That wouldn't have beat Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. That wouldn't have beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That would not have gotten you a win. You have to get in the end zone against these teams that you're going to have to face. And Dallas has been struggling on that. I was talking to Dan, and Himbo is one of the researchers on Get Up. The Dallas Cowboys, out of 85 possessions, have 15 touchdowns. That ain't going to win you no playoff games against the dudes that you're going to have to face once you get into the dance.
They're going to tell you hit the road, Jack.
No, absolutely. Let's get to the other game last night, guys. He put the hurt on him. It went down on a Tuesday. Jalen Hurts leading a run-heavy attack in a pivotal NFC East win over rival Washington, which hurt the football team's chances of making the playoffs now. Hurts went 20 of 26 for 296, 1 pass TD, 2 rushing TDs, 1 interception. Let's talk overcoming adversity, Philly.
First division win for this football team this year. Couldn't come at a better time, you know, and I know we're back at 500 for the first time this year. It's a big deal, but I know that the job isn't done. Right now, in December, we can't be denied of what we want. So with all the adversity we had this week, with all the adversity we had today early in the game, we didn't let it affect us today, and I'm so happy about that.
Well. See, Marcus?
See, this is how you do the holidays, Marcus. This is how you do the holidays, sir.
Exactly. We got to get us some eggnog and some. See, we're working.
Why y'all teaming up on Swagoo, though?
I needed my girl here today. I was like, is Kimberly in studio?
Because Marcus thinks he's fly. That's why. I expected a little bit of brightness.
Did you see him on NFL Live yesterday?
Just
he was feeling.
I saw the caterpillar he tried to do. I saw the
Let me
caterpillar.
address things.
The worm.
I don't think Kimberly
It
Martin.
looked like a caterpillar.
I know.
Okay. Just a little
The
muted
name
on
is
TV
Swagoo
today.
for a reason.
Oh my goodness. All right, Kimberly, I'm going to start with you because it is ladies first, and Merry Christmas to you. Did Hurts prove he's Philly's quarterback of the future?
Jalen Hurts, Molly, proved that he can be an NFL starter, but did he prove that he will be the starter for the Eagles? No, because unfortunately for him, the situation he's in is he plays for a team that has a lot of draft capital. A team that's run by Howie Roseman is always thinking, okay, what can we do at QB? What moves can we make? And that's the problem for Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts. Just coming out of the draft, hearing the way draft evaluators talked about him, how he's a guy that has all the intangibles. He's a guy that in a locker room, you believe, just he's got that aura. He walks by and you're like, that is who we're following. That's the kind of guy. Now, again, they did play a very depleted Washington team, very depleted. However, he made plays. He put the game on his back in moments, and that's what you need for a QB. That's what you want at the position, and he's shown you he can do that. But is that enough for the Eagles to trust? I don't know.
Harry?
Well, I got to say this. First things first, Jalen Hurts is the first quarterback in Eagles history to have 10 touchdowns in a single season. Last night was a stepping stone.
He passed Michael Vick.
Yes, last night was a stepping stone for Jalen Hurts. Now, the question lies for me, would the Eagles even be debating this if they didn't have those first-round draft picks? The answer is no. Jalen Hurts would be their guy if they didn't have these first-round draft picks. Because when you look at the draft class coming out for this year's draft, it's not good. It's not good at all. But for me, Jalen Hurts, a guy last night, 296 yards, 1 touchdown. The interception was not his fault. The fumble was they brought the blitz. He should have got rid of it or just took off running earlier. I like what I seen from him. This team got sparked last night with a throw that he made to Dallas Goedert. Now, I'm going to take it to his head coach now. Nick Sirianni, and I hope he understands this now, that this is a run-first football team, and stop trying to make Jalen Hurts a throw-first football team within that offense. The more they understand that, the more these questions will stop. Because when you put him in that situation, it's times this year I've seen Jalen Hurts throwing jump balls. They receiving core aren't even jump ball receivers. But I believe this offensive coordinator and Nick Sirianni is putting them in that position. And they got to stop putting him in a position for failure and put him in a position to thrive. He's a running quarterback, a guy who can do it with his legs and his arms. Utilize that. Utilize his strengths, not his weaknesses, and I think Jalen Hurts will be all right. But I love what I've seen from him the last few weeks.
The answer to the question is yes, but it's always caveated. And Kim brings up the point of not only the draft picks, and we talked about the quarterbacks that coming out of college, but you also leverage those to try to get one of these veterans. But when we put Jalen Hurts in the context of trying to get one of these veterans, that's like 17 other teams in the NFL that would get rid of their quarterback to get the guys that we've mentioned about the potential of having in Philly over Jalen Hurts, the Russell Wilsons of the world, Aaron Rodgers if he becomes available. We don't know what Deshaun Watson's status will be, but every team is going to look to significantly upgrade their position if one of those guys came available and the situation was right. So that's why I say the answer is yes, because we sat here last year and we talked about where would Russell Wilson go? Where was Aaron Rodgers going to force his way out? You don't know that. You can't play the landscape. What you play is the fact that you see a quarterback that's young, ascending, and getting better as a player. So right now, yes, he's the future going forward for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, if we get to the point where we start talking about, is he an accurate passer all the time? Is he a guy that's operating from a high level from the pocket? No, he's not. If you watch football, everybody knows that. But is he giving you an opportunity to win on Sunday? Yes, in a major way. And he's using his legs, he's using his ability. See, this is the same age-old conversation we had about Lamar Jackson. And I'm not comparing the two players. Lamar is more dynamic with his legs. But let's not shake the stick at Jalen Hurts and act like he can't destroy you with his feet in a football game. It's all about if the franchise is willing to tap into what the skill set is and allow them to morph into what they need to be from an offensive standpoint. Now, if you're telling me Philly is not willing to do that, I agree. Jalen Hurts has no future there. But if you're telling me that the success that we've seen when the Philadelphia Eagles have ran the ball successfully 100%. With Miles Sanders and this offensive line that's been phenomenal, by the way, if you show me that Jalen Hurts can make a back shoulder throw to Greg Ward like he did last night, consistently, if you show me that Dallas Goedert is still going to be the main focus when you talk about tight ends taking over, hell yeah, he the potential future of the Philadelphia Eagles.
The question isn't, is he the potential? The question isn't, is he the potential possibly QB of the Eagles next year? It's, did he prove that he's the Eagles QB? And given the situation the Eagles are in with the draft picks and the fact that there are going to be a lot of veterans that could be on the move, you can't say yes. You cannot answer that question.
But here's my thing. I don't think this organization has put him in that position to be, though.
Exactly.
Because when you have that offensive line, when you have an offensive line like Layden Johnson, Jason Kelsey, Mulata, and Landon Dickerson, I know he didn't play last night. Why are you trying to go out there and pass the football? Show your dominance. Impose your will. Dominate the line of scrimmage. That's what you're supposed to do.
The Eagles will show you what they think of Jalen by their actions. That's all I'm going to say.
Let me ask you this, Swagoo, and if you want to respond to Kimberly first, go ahead. But I want to know this. Do you think the Eagles could win a playoff game potentially? Could they get in and could they win a playoff game this season?
Yes. Yes, they could get in and win a playoff game. And look, let's not have this conversation on First Take like the Eagles are some world beater like that. But yeah, Molly, because they present challenges, and a lot of it is what Harry just talked about. Those challenges travel. The run game travels. We've seen teams be able to steal games in that regard. We've seen teams have opportunities to win playoff games when we were like, it's no shot. They can't do it. Yes, they can. This offensive line has shown that they can be dominant. Hargrave, Fletcher Cox on the other side of the football can create and generate pass rush. And when we start talking about playoffs, we need everybody to understand that, y'all, this is about 3 hours on those particular days. I know we look at the scope of a season, and I know we think of it in that context. But when you get to the playoffs, there is 3 hours that you have. 2 or 3 plays can flip that. Right. 2 or 3 long possessions from the Philadelphia Eagles can take over a game. When we saw Nick Foles beat the New England Patriots, did we think they have a shot to win the Super Bowl? Hell no. We was like, no, you don't have a shot to win this game against Bill Belichick with a quarterback that we don't honestly believe in outside of what he was doing in the playoffs. Yes, when the playoffs start, and that's why we put it on every damn script, every scroll. That's why we have a conversation about it 10 weeks out from it. Because when you get to the playoffs, all bets are off. You know what those records become? 0-0 once you get to that point. And football, and it's the reason why it's the greatest professional sport that we have in America, is because for 3 hours, if you better, you gonna win the game. That's what it boils down to. The Golden State Warriors, If they lose, they'll walk off the court and say, hey, we get them at home next week or in a couple days, and we just need to even the series up. In football, once those zeros hit the clock, it's over. You start preparing for next year. So from now on, when we have conversations about the playoffs and we ask, can teams win? The answer should be hell yeah until the game over.
Yeah, and they can definitely win this weekend because they have the Giants. And don't forget, Daniel Jones done for the season with that neck injury.
Molly with the shade.
No, it wasn't.
100%.
I was thinking of a speedy recovery. It is what it is. Listen, everybody knows 2021 is not my year, but guess what? 2022 it is. Okay? And my football team is included in that. Still ahead on First Take, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver went on NBA Today to deliver his thoughts on the new COVID variant and what this means for the rest of the season. We react to that next. Plus, they both reached the promised land before, but who's got the bigger chip on their shoulder to win the Super Bowl this season? Who wants it more, Showtime or that bad man? I can't wait for that debate. Everybody sticking around. Talk to me.
The outfits today. That's what the Christmas spirit, y'all.
In a pandemic season, both have multiple reasons to have a chip or a boulder, rather, on their shoulder. Aaron dealing with the offseason drama with his team in the immunized fallout, and some folks critical of Patrick Mahomes earlier this season, saying he'd fallen off. But how do you like them now? Both in the MVP combo. In the latest MVP odds, Rodgers builds a slight edge over Brady, with Jonathan Taylor creeping in at number 3. Mahomes now sits at the 4th shortest odds, despite the Chiefs seeming to have found themselves again. Harry, I will start with you. Who should have the bigger chip on their shoulder to win the Super Bowl? Is it Patrick Mahomes or is it Aaron Rodgers?
I'm going to have to go with Aaron Rodgers. I think he has the biggest chip on his shoulder right now. You look at the situation and things that transpired this offseason, and I think a little side of him wants to say, hey, I stuck it to y'all. I want to go ahead and win this Super Bowl so I can let y'all know that drafting Jordan Love was not the move.
Yeah.
So he's going to probably give him a little bird finger on his way out if he decides not to stay, which I don't think he's going to stay. But you look at Aaron Rodgers, 2010 was the last time he won a Super Bowl. It's been a while since he's got there. You had that conversation about, okay, is he the best quarterback? He only has one Super Bowl. He has to get another one at least to put himself in a separate category right underneath Tom Brady, because right now I think you have Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes on the same level. Aaron Rodgers gets another Super Bowl, then you lift him up and put him in a different category on his own. So I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers on this one.
Marcus?
I can rock with that, Harry, but I'm going Patrick Mahomes, and I can't think about anything outside of what we saw last year in the Super Bowl, and I got to believe that he wants a chance to rectify that. And I know that Aaron Rodgers hasn't been there in a long time. I understand why his chip or his boulder would be bigger. But I thought about this was a tough question, and I don't think it's a wrong answer. And you have a lot of validity in what you just said about Aaron Rodgers. But I watched Patrick Mahomes last year get embarrassed in the Super Bowl. And I understand what the O-line situation was, but it also was this narrative that was created that he was supposed to be able to overcome that. Hell, even I believed it, that he would have an opportunity to overcome it. And then the way this season kind of played out and transpired, and people questioning, the $500 million contract, and look what happens when Patrick Mahomes and people playing him defensively a certain way. Look at him pressing, the things that were happening with Kansas City, the turnovers and all of that. So I think this year, when we get forward, when we start going forward, based off how the Kansas City Chiefs started out, do y'all realize that at some point during the season, we was like, is Kansas City going to finish third or last in their division? And I'm sure Patrick Mahomes was sitting back thinking, what the hell is wrong with these people on TV? And I'm included. I'm in the crew, because I was like, it is no way that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be a good football team based off what we've seen for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I think him getting back there, the tag that we put on him about he has an opportunity to catch Tom Brady, I know y'all remember all of that talk. I think Patrick Mahomes is carrying the bigger boulder on his shoulders because of last year's Super Bowl embarrassment and how this season has went for the Kansas City Chiefs as well.
So, not surprisingly, I'm going to disagree with Marcus here, because Marcus said there is no wrong answer. There's a wrong answer. Mahomes is not the answer to this question. Aaron Rodgers, he's a bad man. Yeah, he's the answer to this question, because you talk about chip. My man started the offseason with a whole list of grievances. Like, I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you. You messed up, and here's what I'm going to do. So the fact that Jordan Love still sits on this team, Jordan Love is a daily reminder that your franchise really wasn't quite sure if you still had any juice left, or not that much juice. And what has Aaron done? He's put seasons together where you think, wow, with Aaron Rodgers, the Packers can do it all. They can win a Super Bowl. His whole life is about a chip. Aaron Rodgers' whole NFL career, from not being drafted, the first quarterback, Alex Smith, sitting there in the draft room, his whole entire being is that chip. So for him to start the season like that, and he's running out of time. Did you hear the press conference that he gave yesterday? He was like, oh man, sometimes when you think about the years, you don't even realize you're in the good times until they're over. He knows that window is closing. He knows that window is closing. That's why there's the chip. That's why there's the pressure. That's why, how dare this team think that I don't have any more juice? I got plenty of juice. And that's why I think this will be his last year. Like, to Harry's point, he will want to win a Super Bowl and then be like, see, that's why I'm a bad man.
Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing, and here's my frustration with you, Kimberly and Harry, is that y'all haven't graduated yet from the Aaron Rodgers story. Y'all still want to be a part of the book. Y'all want to get emotional when Aaron Rodgers creates all of these chips on his shoulders. Whoever said Aaron Rodgers wasn't a good quarterback? Even when Green Bay drafted Jordan Love, they were trying to get ready for the future. It ain't like Aaron Rodgers was a spring chicken. Look, we don't know how Jordan Love was going to turn out, but they did the same thing to Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers was drafted in mind
Marcus,
that at some point we're
now.
going to have somebody.
Don't rewrite history, brother.
Well, you just brought up history. Jordan Love was there last year when Aaron Rodgers won the MVP.
Brett Favre was talking about retiring left and right. And it was that, okay, is he going?
Okay.
Is he saying? Aaron Rodgers has never said, I'm ready to hang it up.
What year?
But go on.
What year was Aaron Rodgers in when they drafted Jordan Love? Was it 15?
Yeah.
Like at some point, when do you try to draft a successor? At year 21? Year 20? Like at what point do you say, okay, Aaron Rodgers still can play? And I get it. Look, I'm not absolving Green Bay of some things, but I ain't giving Green Bay everything. Like, obviously, Aaron Rodgers created a lot of the stuff that came his way, okay? And when we start talking about, well, they didn't do this and they didn't do that, they went to the NFC Championship 3 times in this span where they couldn't draft and they didn't have players and he needed more. They were the team that was consistently having the opportunity to win games. Oh, by the way, let me mention this, and Harry remembers this, and you as well, Kim, because you usually on the road. That defense from the Green Bay Packers turned the football over 3 times in the NFC Championship. Am I wrong or am I right?
I was there, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I covered that game.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you and Harry, y'all still want to live in the Aaron Rodgers, Pat McAfee every week when he talks.
No.
He's created these boulders,
the emotional
these
part.
chips.
The
Aaron
emotional
Rodgers
part
have
is
lived
just
the
a part
lapse
of it.
luxury in the NFL for a long time.
The emotional part of Aaron Rodgers is just a part of the story. He went to the NFC Championship last year and lost to Tom Brady. That's still a chip on his shoulder. He only has one Super Bowl. He hasn't been back to the Super Bowl since 2010. That's another chip on his shoulder. I'm just saying that's a piece to the puzzle. He won MVP last year.
I can vibe with them points. I can vibe with them points, and I could be a man and say those are reasons why you and Kim are right. But please spare me the Aaron Rodgers is in his feelings about the things that happen
It's a
with
part
Green
of the
Bay.
story, Swagoo.
Yes.
It's a part of the story. You
It's
can't
not,
write a
though.
book.
He
You
created
can't
that.
write a book
He
and leave
created
parts of the
that.
book out. You got to put everything in the book.
Marcus was reading the
stuff
book
you
with
talked
us
about
all
recently, he
offseason,
created
talking
all
about
that.
Aaron Rodgers, and now all of a sudden he's like, oh, put the book down, put the book down. We were all talking, we were all reading the book. That was all offseason.
I don't know, but I just feel like Kimberly just owned that segment. I'm Marcus, you gotta admit it. Come on. You basically conceded your entire argument.
What part?
You said Harry and Kimberly are right.
You basically said they were right. You basically gave it up to them and gave them props.
Molly, see, here's the difference. Here's the difference, Molly, with me. I acknowledge that, okay? But the part that I had an issue with was the part that Kim and Harry brought up about Aaron Rodgers this year feeling like he need a chip
Because
on his
it's a
shoulder
part
because
of the
what
story.
happened in the
It's
You
offseason.
can't leave it out.
It's part of the
You can't leave
anthology
that
from
out.
beginning
It's a
to
part
end.
of the
Tell
book.
me, tell me,
Swagoo.
You can't
tell
pull
me
out
Aaron
chapters,
Rodgers has
bro.
not
Come
won.
on.
You can tell me Aaron Rodgers has only won one Super Bowl. That's why he has a chip on his shoulder. You could tell me it's been a long time. That's why he has a chip on his shoulder. Don't tell me it's because they drafted
We're not
Jordan
doing this
Love.
today.
Don't tell me it's because the organization didn't want to get the players that he wanted. Those players went to the NFC Championship last year. All right?
Marcus.
Stop
Marcus.
with
I'm
Marcus.
going to go in the
You
archives
know,
and pull up all that footage you're talking about.
Marcus,
Control
you wait.
the
Before
emotion.
we go,
Swagoo,
producers are
you
in my
drowning
ear.
now.
Hold on,
You drowning
hold
now.
on.
I'm gonna
Producers
throw you a
are in my
lifeline.
ear. We got to go to break. But Marcus,
I'm
you
not
are
drowning.
lying.
I've
Marcus
admitted
Spears,
that
you
you
are
guys are
lying
right about the chip.
if you say that he was
Tell him,
not
Molly.
salty when Jordan Love got
Tell him,
drafted
Molly.
and he wanted talent around him. Instead, they used the pick for a
Molly.
quarterback. You know he was.
Molly, he can be salty about that. But you know what has transpired since that? He's been a league MVP into the NFC Championship. So salty my ass. Aaron Rodgers wants people to think that this chip
the
has
season
been
to be
formed
jolly.
because of what
He's
other
just
people
mad
have done.
because
The bottom line
his jacket
Right.
not popping on screen. I
Swagoo,
see it, Marcus.
don't you be
He's
the
mad.
Grinch today. Don't you
Marcus,
be the
let's
Grinch
do this.
today.
We're going to take a commercial break. You go get that velour velvet jacket.
Get me
Y'all
some
get out
velvet.
Can
You
y'all,
come
can
back.
y'all stop letting Aaron Rodgers control y'all emotions? Please stop.
All
Just
right, we
stop
gotta
it.
go. More
Stop it.
first
Everybody in
takes
TV,
still ahead.
please stop it.
Roll the bump, y'all. The Lakers weren't the only thing that got rolled last night. LeBron's ankle. How much confidence in this Lakers squad heading into Christmas Day? Plus, Cooper Kupp had himself a day against the Seahawks yesterday. Are he and the Rams now the biggest NFC threat to the one-seeded? Goes into First Take this morning. The NBA has postponed the Nets-Trailblazers game tomorrow. The Nets do not have enough players to proceed with the game. Despite ongoing COVID issues, Adam Silver told our Malika Andrews yesterday that there are currently no plans to pause the season.
Beginning from the day we initially shut down the league, in March of 2020, we've done nothing but look at contingencies. So of course, we always have those, but at least as of now, our plan is to move forward, not just for the Christmas Day games, but there are another roughly 23 games scheduled between now and Christmas. And, every day is a new day. We get the overnight testing. We look where we are in terms of our rosters and make our decisions. But at least, as I said, it seems for us that the right and responsible thing to do, taking all the factors into consideration, is to continue to play.
A lot on the commissioner's shoulders right now. Time for quick takes. Let's get it. Harry, what's your reaction to Adam Silver saying they're pressing forward for the time being?
Well, my thing is if they do pause the season, are they going to make the games up that they pause, if they suspend it for a little bit of time? You don't want the situation to happen again that you had, I think it was last year where the season started later. Now things are trickling over to the following season. But at the same time, I think they only tested the vaccinated, unvaccinated. But if you were vaccinated and you had a little symptoms, I think that's when they tested guys. So, this is a new norm now. We got to get used to this. COVID era, what we did beforehand is no longer just. So, I just wish he wouldn't have said it out loud right now.
Absolutely. Health is first. Marcus, yesterday the Lakers lost to the Suns in postgame. LeBron said that he doesn't know what this Laker team can be yet. Do you know what this team can be?
Yep, they'll be a team that get bounced in the first round of the playoffs if they get in from the play-in game. Listen, I've been on this train and I love LeBron James. Everybody knows that that's my favorite player of all time in the NBA. But LeBron been in this league damn near 20 years. If they ain't figured it out now, they are behind the 8 ball. They dealing with injuries with AD. They got a Western Conference that's strong. Obviously, Phoenix, Golden State, Utah. Stop with the madness. I love the Lakers. Would have loved to see them against the Nets. Ain't happening.
Hey, we aren't even at the All-Star break yet. Still ahead, some formidable foes standing in the way of Aaron Rodgers and those one-seeded Packers. Stafford, Brady, Dak Moore. Who's the biggest threat of this bunch? And yet another L for the Seahawks has us wondering the obvious. Is it finally time for Russell Wilson to part ways with the Seahawks? And where should he go? We get into that. Hey, I hope you're feeling better. Meanwhile, we'll try to hold it down for you. A fresh hour first take starts right now. Wait till you hear what Big Jerry Jones said now. Talking Cowboys ceiling with former Cowboy Marcus Spears. Packers or the Chiefs? Who needs that coveted 1 seed more between those two powerhouses? And wait a minute, someone said LeBron James ruined the NBA. Yep, and it was one of his former teammates. Wait until we get into that. But first, we had some football last night. A rare Tuesday night NFC showdown. Despite placing up to 29 players on the reserve COVID-19 list over the past 10 days and playing last night without 3 starters, the Rams defeated the Seahawks 20-10. Matthew Stafford 21 of 29 for 244 yards, 2 TDs, 1 pick. The Rams win leaves 4 10-4 teams in the NFC with 3 games left in the season. Green Bay is the only team in either conference to clinch their division and has sole possession of the 1 seed entering Week 16 thus far. Marcus Spears, who's the biggest threat to the Packers in the NFC?
The Dallas Cowboys are the biggest threat. And it's because defensively, I think this team is hitting on a cylinder that I really don't put any other team in the NFC on a level right now, with the ability to be multiple, what Micah Parsons does, and then, too, the pass rush up front between Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence. Trayvon Diggs back deep. And I wanted to see the matchup, y'all. I promise I want to see Devontae and Trayvon Diggs have an opportunity to go face-to-face in a playoff game that means a lot. I know this offense has been struggling for Dallas. I don't think this is the trend that's going to continue. And really, that's what this is based in the end. I think defensively, the Dallas Cowboys are where they need to be in order to give themselves a chance to win a Super Bowl or even get to one. Offensively, I think they will come along. It's almost like they switched positions with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs were struggling early. Dallas was on fire. Now the Chiefs have found their footing. Hopefully that cycle is coming back for Dallas to find where they are, and offensively, identity-wise, more creativity. Dak feeling more comfortable with his body, because I believe that's a part of why he's seemingly struggled down the stretch. I got the Dallas Cowboys being the biggest threat, mainly because that defense, to me, is the one that's going to give people the most problems when they get in the playoffs.
Yeah, for me, Marcus, I have 2 teams. I'll start with my first one. My first one is going to be the San Francisco 49ers. I think the San Francisco 49ers right now are playing a hell of a brand of football. And when you look at the Green Bay Packers, let's not forget, about 2 years ago, they physically outmatched the Green Bay Packers, right? And not a lot of turnover on that roster. You still have a lot of guys on that San Francisco 49ers team who are still there. Now, I do feel like this. They played each other already once this year, and a lot of people may forgot about this. But with 37 seconds left to go in the game, Aaron Rodgers had to go down and get a field goal. Now, the 49ers on the back end, they didn't do a great job of covering Devontae Adams, and that's the main reason why that happened. So I got the 49ers as my one team. The second team I got is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because as long as Tom Brady is over there, I think they have an opportunity. You've seen twice last year, they beat them in the regular season in Tampa, then they beat them in the NFC Championship game in Green Bay. So my 2 teams right now for the Green Bay Packers that pose a threat, San Francisco 49ers, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Harry, I respect that, and especially with the 49ers, because physicality travels on any day of the week in football. Here's the thing that because I'm gonna be honest with you, we went through production, we talked about this. I had the Rams. I had the Rams, and I was thinking Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, with the matchup that you can get with him on any receiver that's top and dominant, the way Stafford is playing offensively. They've gotten the run game going better with Sony Michel and Henderson coming back. But when I look at Dallas, and Harry, you know how vitally important this is. They can win with a 4-man rush. Yeah. And when you get to the playoffs, that changes the narrative for you as a football team. If we go back and we think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it was a 4-man pass rush that dominated the playoffs last year. And I think the Dallas Cowboys has the opportunity to do that, especially with a healthy DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory. And that's the thing I think people forget. We are only 2 weeks in with a fully healthy Dallas defense that was already playing well. But the fact that you get DeMarcus Lawrence back, who is a Pro Bowler, a guy that can take over games in the pass rush, who plays the run as well as anybody, which I think is a very underrated part of his game. And then the way Randy Gregory was playing, he was trending towards being one of these guys with the most sacks in the NFL season. Neville Gallimore on the inside, a big physical press. Listen, man, I know I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I know how this is going to be perceived. But from a football standpoint alone, what Dan Quinn has done with this defense and the flexibility that they have to play whatever type of style you want to play, I think they're going to be a problem for the teams that we're talking about potentially going to the Super Bowl in Tampa and in Green Bay. That defense can make a difference for Dallas, and I'm not scared about the offense not finding a stride going forward, because when we start throwing out names of stars, Dallas is right there up with the top from an offensive standpoint as well.
Yeah, that's one reason why I picked the two teams that I picked, because of their front seven. You look at the San Francisco 49ers, you look at Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead. DJ Jones is playing a good brand of football. Then you look at Fred Warner. Now, if they can get Al Shazier back healthy, that front seven can create problems for Green Bay. But then you look at Tampa. You've seen what they did, like you just mentioned, to the Patrick Mahomes last year. It's not like those guys are gone. Those guys are still there.
Yeah.
That's why I chose those two teams.
No, of course. Tampa, just the concern, obviously, Godwin, and now we just heard Fournette's out for the regular season, but they do have a cupcake schedule the next 3 games. Guys, let's get back to last night's game. Let Russ cook. The Seahawks loss means they will have a losing record for the first time in the Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll era. Seattle had the longest active streak of winning seasons, entering the season at 9, which has now been matched by the Chiefs. So this has obviously not been Seattle's year, to say the least. Is it time for Russ to take his talents elsewhere, Harry?
Yeah, I think it is. And sometimes, it's like sometimes a marriage might not be the right thing for you. It's time to go. Both people go their separate ways, and let bygones be bygones. And not only do I think they should part ways, I think Pete Carroll, it might be the end for Pete Carroll as well. But for Russ for so long, you've seen when Russ went down this year, Molly and Swagoo, you've seen all the holes with that organization that got covered up because Russell Wilson was the quarterback. I think all that has been revealed. I think Russ and his wife, listen, we always, Swagoo, you married. What the wife say goes. If the wife say it's time to go, it's time to go. And you know
It's
Russ,
coming. It's coming.
Sierra gonna put that pressure on Russ. Hey, it's time to go. We gotta go somewhere else. Whether it's New Orleans, whether it's New York where she loves to go, whether it's Denver where he has a chance. But I think it's time for Russ to part ways so he could, his last few years that he have of football, he needs to be somewhere where he can win another Super Bowl.
Yeah, see, Harry, Molly ain't tripping because you mentioned New York. You mentioned the Giants. That's who you're talking about.
That's
so
where they're
she
coming.
ain't tripping.
Star power.
She ain't gonna get. She ain't
Come
gonna
on
get.
down. Come on down to NYC, Louisiana. You're from Louisiana's cool. I go down there, get a little crawfish. I have a nice time. I walk down Bourbon Street. It's enjoyable. But they know where to come, where the real money is, and that's out here in NYC.
Them taxes, Molly. Them taxes serious, Molly.
Do you think they're worried about money?
Always.
If you want to get,
if you don't have to spend
5
it,
minutes,
Stop it. They're going to make so much more money out here.
If you want to get 5 minutes of Molly going off and smiling, just bring up something about New York and somebody coming down. Molly, you took that bait I threw out there and you ran with it because I know how you are about New York. But let me say this. Let me say this though, because I think it's very important.
Okay.
And what both of y'all like, those are parts that will be a part of the thought process. I believe, honestly, and then if you decipher between what's the vitally important thing, because we got like Russ got years left in the league, but it's not like that long left. He's been in this league for a while. And I'm gonna throw something out there, and I know that it's been talked about with a lot of teams. It's a lot of places Russell Wilson will fit. Are you kidding me? It's just like when we came off the Eagles conversation. Let him say he want to go to Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts will be playing somewhere else. It's only a few guys like that. Pittsburgh, y'all. And I know it ain't the greatest place to go for your entertainment and all of the things but from a strictly football standpoint, what Mike Tomlin has built foundationally, a defense that will support you, offense that has a lot of weapons. They get this offensive line figured out, which I think if you get Russell Wilson, you make that a priority like we saw the Kansas City Chiefs do after they struggled in the Super Bowl against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That team is prime. They're sitting there right now with an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl, and Ben sometimes don't know what the hell he doing back there at quarterback from a physical standpoint. So I'm looking at that as another destination that would be, I think, enticing and a real opportunity to win a Super Bowl for Russell Wilson and a team that may be a little bit closer than we think as far as being competitive when we start talking about winning the whole thing.
Yeah, Swagger, the only problem that I have with Pittsburgh is that we got to remember Russell Wilson, his entire career, has been one of the most highly sacked quarterbacks in the National Football League. And he's a guy that can elude that pressure. Going to Pittsburgh, like you just said, they're going to have to shore up that offensive line if they want Russell Wilson to come there, or tell him, hey, we're going to make it our point to get you an offensive line. Because what they have right now, I don't even think that O-line like Big Ben. The times I be seeing him get hit back there.
Yeah.
Harry, don't do him like that. Don't do him like that, man.
They horrible.
It is awful. It is awful. It is awful. But with that being said,
they had a skill position people
at 7-6-1.
Yeah.
Like, so
Mike
for
Tomlin,
as bad as they are, it is something about that franchise and organization that's not like we thought that this would be Mike Tomlin's first losing season. Like we saw weeks where we were like, bro, it ain't no way the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now they here in the conversation to not only be in their division as winners, but to get to the playoffs. As bad as it has been, the Pittsburgh Steelers are still relevant to a playoff conversation. There's I put a lot of stock into that based on what we've seen transpire with that football team.
But the other wrinkle on this is there's going to be another guy, Aaron Rodgers, potentially looking at all these teams too. He might even consider San Francisco as well because that's where he's from. Yep. So it'll be exciting offseason. That is for sure. Plenty more first takes still to come, guys. I promise you'll want to hear what Jerry Jones said about his Cowboys. Has us wondering what their real ceiling is.
To witness a physical fitness so gifted, your time's up, back to business. In the biggest AFC West game in 5 years, the Chiefs put the hammer down.
The Packers and Chiefs now each hold the top spot in their conferences. According to our analytics, the Chiefs have the edge and chances to make it and win the Super Bowl. How about them apples? How do you like those Chiefs now? We thought they fell off. I was one of them, Marcus. Okay, now with all this being said, I'm going to own it too.
I got the Chiefs. I think that home field advantage, that atmosphere, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, when you try to go there and win games, it's tough. And that's where they got off the skid. I know the 19-9 win over the Cowboys was imperative for the Chiefs. That was like the line of demarcation for their season, and we see them now continuing to make this run. I understand the advantages of both places, playing in both places. I just feel more comfortable right now with Aaron Rodgers going on the road because he ain't flinched. Aaron Rodgers with the Arizona without his wide receiving core and won when Arizona was the hottest team in the NFL. I think Kansas City defensively benefits more from being at home with the way that Spags, the defensive coordinator, likes to pressure teams. And it seems like when you go to KC and this team either gets down or they are not having success, they figure out a way to rally behind those fans and get it popping. So I think in the AFC, when you look at Kansas City and the teams that would have to travel to them, if we think in New England, they got a rookie quarterback that's going to have to go play on the road. If we think in the Los Angeles Chargers, we thinking about Justin Herbert, who's playing phenomenally, but a coach that loves to go for it on fourth down. You don't think crowd noise is going to matter? We look at Buffalo. And Buffalo was supposed to be a lot better than where they are right now. Seems like they hitting a stride. But I would love to have Buffalo defensive line against that offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs in the run game at home. Buffalo still ain't stopped the run since they started playing this season. So when I look at all of the varying factors in Kansas City and what they were able to do getting off the skid, I think what they on 7 or 8 straight game win streak, it goes back to my mind. It all started at the crib. So I think Kansas City would need it more, and it would probably be the toughest atmosphere for those AFC teams to go in and win against.
Yeah, first thing I say, both places tough atmospheres to play in, and I played in both of those places when it's been cold as hell. I mean, -degree weather. So, but for me, though, Swagoo, I got the Green Bay Packers for these reasons right here. A lot of teams don't want to go to Green Bay in January. I know the Cowboys probably don't want to do it because they're a dome team. Tampa Bay, they won last year, but they're in hot weather right now. I think it's like in the 70s down there in Tampa Bay right now, but they won last year.
And they injured.
And then you look at the Rams. They're a dome team. They're in LA with a lot of good weather. Arizona, they out there in the desert with a lot of good weather. So I don't think those teams really want to go to Green Bay in January. But the second part of this is it allows Aaron Rodgers a week off from that toe, right? And I understand he's not practicing right now, but it gives him an extra week not to be in a game, putting pressure on that foot or risking something else getting hurt. So I think the 1 seed will benefit the Green Bay Packers more so this year when people know things are going through that frozen tundra.
Are you concerned about the toe?
No, I'm not concerned about the toe at all. You see what he's doing with the toe. It's Aaron Rodgers. I ain't concerned about no toe, Aaron. Dude, you see that over route he threw the other day?
The other part of it, Harry, and I'm not agreeing with you. I still got Kansas City, and that's fine. We agree to disagree. But that extra week gets Jair Alexander back. They get Zadarius Smith potentially back. So they need it. They got some important pieces that need to come back. I just think when you go to KC, bro, I saw Tennessee go up 25 and them eat that lead up. I saw them backs against the wall this season alone about if they still good. I didn't push the panic button on Kansas City. We can go back and roll the tape. It was never a panic button. I said they need to stop turning football over, and Pat Mahomes needs to take some underneath stuff to open up and run the damn football. They got back to doing that. Coincidentally, they having success. But I think going to Kansas City now with that guy playing like that, that is probably one of the most devastating places to play. And I got to say this. We've seen teams go to Green Bay and win and beat the Green Bay Packers in order to go to a Super Bowl. So I'm sure they'll run those tapes back either in Tampa or in San Francisco.
Don't
do that, bro.
Marcus would be betting on Patrick Mahomes.
Don't do that, bro. Don't do that.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
That's the GOAT. That's the greatest of all time.
That's the greatest. Year removed, Harry, from them losing at the crib. We only a year removed.
Oh, man.
True story. Gentlemen, we'll leave it there. Still ahead, LeBron has done all he can do the past couple weeks to help keep the Lakers afloat, but now he's got to deal with more